The world's balance of power is shifting. 5 nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, stand at the crossroads of history, ready to reshape the very foundations of global governance. The question is, will the world listen? In the heart of Kazan, from October 22nd to 24th, 2024, the leaders of the BRICS nations gathered for their 16th summit. But this was no ordinary meeting. Behind the grand speeches and ceremonial handshakes, a quiet revolution was brewing, a call for the reform of global governance with the United Nations at its core. For years, the call to reform the United Nations Security Council has grown louder. The council, born in the aftermath of World War II, was designed to prevent future conflicts and foster peace. But in today's world, it seems to represent a bygone era, a time when the victors of war determined the future of global governance. BRICS nations believe it's time for a change. The United Nations was born out of the ashes of World War II, an organization designed to unite nations against the threat of conflict. In 1945, at the San Francisco Conference, representatives from 50 nations signed the UN Charter establishing the rules that govern international peacekeeping efforts. The Security Council was built on the idea of maintaining peace. But today, critics argue it has become a relic of a different era. With its 5 permanent members, the United States, United Kingdom, France, Russia, and China, holding veto powers, decisions on crucial global issues are often stymied by disagreements among the great powers. And for many, it seems the Council reflects the power dynamics of 1945 rather than the realities of 2024. At the Kazan summit, BRICS nations united in their demand for UN Security Council reform. India, Brazil, and South Africa have long argued that the Council no longer reflects the geopolitical realities of today. With over 40% of the world's population and nearly a quarter of the global economy, BRICS wants a seat at the table, a permanent one. The inclusion of major developing nations is no longer a request, it is an urgent international priority. But it's not just the Security Council where BRICS seeks change. The group is also looking to challenge the dominance of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. These institutions, established in the post-war period, have often been criticized for being too Western-centric, leaving emerging economies on the sidelines. BRICS has proposed alternative financial institutions that aim to be more inclusive, reflecting the growing power of the Global South. However, reform is not without its challenges. Russia and China often find themselves at odds with Western nations, particularly regarding issues like sovereignty and human rights. Russia's recent opposition to parts of the UN's Pact for the Future highlighted these tensions, underscoring the difficulties in reaching a global consensus. Yet even within BRICS, internal divisions and differing priorities sometimes threaten to slow progress. The BRICS nations are well aware that they stand at a pivotal moment in history. The UN was born from the horrors of war, but the world has changed. And as these nations push for a more equitable system, the weight of history remains ever present. The founding principles of the UN, sovereign equality, peaceful conflict resolution, and the upholding of human rights still resonate, but they must evolve to fit the modern world. As BRICS expands, with countries like Saudi Arabia and Egypt joining the fold, its influence grows. The group now represents over 40% of the world's population and a significant portion of global GDP. As they continue to push for reforms, both at the UN and in global finance, the question arises, are we witnessing the dawn of a new world order? Only time will tell if BRICS can succeed in its mission to reshape global governance. But one thing is certain, the world is listening, and change is coming. Whether through the reform of the UN or the rise of new financial institutions, BRICS is determined to leave its mark on the 21st century. And as they say, the future belongs to those who dare to challenge the status quo.